Hi, I'm Simon Lee Marion, and welcome to my podcast. And this evening, I have a guest who I've known for a very long time, and we haven't seen each other for a very long time, apart from a few times on on Zoom and WhatsApp and stuff like that. So it's going to be. I have no doubt we've been chatting before this, and we've been on the verge of pissing ourselves laughing before we even start. So Christ knows what's going to happen during this. But I hope you enjoy it as much as we will. And we'll just crack on to it. So tonight's guest is Pasha Munro, former Royal Marine, as myself, and well, you decided to go on to other forms of hooliganism, really, which
Legal,
legal, yes, yes. Oh, you were paid. You were
absolutely.
government
As a
sponsored.
professional, I'm a professional.
You are a professional hooligan. I cannot deny that. That's no. Well, what a gifted job that is.
I know, I know. And they ain't got my fingerprints either on my DNA.
Spawny git. So we were chuckling beforehand, talking about what this is about in terms of the whole psychological resilience piece and how that ties in with and how that's supported by human connection. It's great to be psychologically resilient when you're with people, but when you're on your own is a different thing. How humor plays a massive part in that. And that I think the military has a dark sense of humor anyway. I think the Corps' sense of humor is kind of subterranean.
Illegal.
Illegal. Very probably if it was listened to by outsiders. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well, you're not
think it
allowed
would
to go in
be.
the pub. You're not allowed to walk in the pub naked anymore, are you? Come on.
Oh, I mean, it's just ridiculous. What is the
or in
world?
or in a dress.
Or in a dress. Oh, I know. I know. Well, somebody'd be offended, wouldn't
Yeah.
they? So think if you're how important has that kind of little trifecta of in terms of maintaining your psychological resilience, which is, we all have it before we join to a certain degree, particularly because most of us have a bit of a dodgy background. um,
Absolutely.
which helped and probably steered us in that direction anyway. But having that connection, that camaraderie, and the humor, how important do you think that was in maintaining your resilience?
Well, I think from the professional career that we've had, we're liable to be in very dark places just for the nature of what we've actually done. So
Yeah,
if you haven't got that switch for being being silly and taking the piss out of someone or being taken the piss out of funny, then if you haven't got that, then how can you get through them situations with if because you won't be able to. You'll be in that dark place all the time. So it actually helps. It promotes you to get out of it.
yeah,
When we got taught this kind of humor when we joined Limpston, we was all probably on our back foot thinking, oh, that's kind of a bit bullying kind of thing. But when you actually move through it and understand what they're doing to you, most of the time, because all the training team are actually laughing at you, laughing at your misery,
yes,
and it is misery. But once you understand that and get rid of the steel plate that you put up, once you get rid of that and let them do it, then you can absorb that and turn it into right. Okay, I've got to laugh at that because everyone's laughing at it, so we've all got to laugh at it. And then it puts the seed in your mind that when I'm in the positions again or the dark places, you find something stupid to laugh at, or you see someone else in a dark place, and if you take the piss out of him, he forgets that then, and he can get himself out of that dark place because you're giving him stupid humor or taking the piss out of him, and weirdly, the people we forget about it then. and we move on to get. You want to give him shit because he's just taking the piss out of you. So you forget the little hole you're in, and all of a sudden there's no lesson on that. It's just how it happens. And we don't need to go to university at that. You just go to the University of Livingston, get beaten and get the piss taken out of you, and that's you for the rest of your life. Just growing onto that and moving around the different circles of people who you bounce through on that path. That everyone they'll find your weakness straight away.
Yeah.
And then they'll take the piss after that.
Yeah.
And then you've got to constantly learn. And it's not. And if you didn't, you'd be on the back foot waiting for that. You walk in a room and someone's going to call you something. But if you know and you've been through that, then you can move forward straight away, and you're back in the mix of either giving it back or laughing with them. And it's not meant to put you in a dark place. It's meant to get everybody out and open, and look at the funny side. Even though you're all probably in a world of pain, and you might all be in a world of pain, but if you start that process, everyone forgets that pain, turns that off, and we're all being silly kids again.
It's very childish.
Yeah, absolutely.
It absolutely absolutely works.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I'll try and die quietly. Yeah, I could do with one of those. I know with you it's not gin or vodka, so
no, it's not. It's a school night as well, and I'll need a toilet quickly.
No bladder resilience, but plenty of mental.
Well, I have got a tenor man on tonight, so I can go. I can go for an hour.
Catheters up before you start.
Absolutely.
Can't do long
that's
meetings.
my preparation. Is it the 7 P's, whatever it is?
One is don't piss yourself. Yeah.
And because it's cold, it's just going to get really. It's going to.
Oh man, alive! I know. -11 last night. It genuinely, it's like being back in Norway.
Brilliant.
Oh, yeah. I'm not skiing anywhere though. No chance. I'd be arse over tit straight away these days.
But you'd still be laughing.
I would, yeah. I'd have a quick check around to see who noticed. Yeah. Oh, bastard. No, not again.
You're making dusting yourself off. I meant to do that.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Just making snow angels.
I have been on these for years, but I can still in your mind, I'm still flipping good at this.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the bootneck scream and get out of the way.
Yes.
Because you can always tell the bootnecks on a ski slope because they're coming down in the DPM flipping Gore-Tex, screaming, get out the way.
No brakes. No, I must admit, I did. If I remember back to last Norway, went skiing in Narvik on a weekend off, and one of the lads he had no idea how to stop, so he just starfished face down. He tucked the whole way down the mountain and then just starfished face first to brake. As that's unique.
It worked.
It did. It worked. Yeah. And he didn't have no waterproof gear, so he had jogger bottoms on and a buffalo, a woolly bear. So he came up like a bloody yeti, and it filled inside his joggers as well. So he had snow down inside of his trousers.
Non-emotional, obviously.
Not absolutely, yeah. Ooh.
I'm all right.
Yeah, just went for a hot chocolate after that. Oh man, yes. No, the humor. I think I don't know how it's changed now. To be honest, I know that the humor from having, because I worked with the RMR up here when it first set up the detachment in Aberdeen. I was on the training team up here, and I still get invited to the Christmas night out, and I was there in December, and the humor seems to still be the same, but
Brilliant.
I don't know. I don't know what it's like at Lympstone, how restrained it is and confined.
It's probably not as raw, is it?
I probably not. No.
Because I mean, some of the stuff we went through was at the time, I'm not this in the core, but it's illegal.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, you'd have got
Yeah,
different shit to me,
yeah, yeah,
but
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just. I mean, Christ. I
But having
think
said that, from leaving there and going to the first unit up north, I got it. It was even worse there because the Scottish people. That's even worse. You're Scottish. Sorry, I'm English, and
yeah,
I'm ethnic. They don't work.
yeah, yeah. You just ripe for the picking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
madness. Yeah,
And to be honest, there wasn't when in the I, I, when I say in them days, it wasn't that long ago, but it was 30 odd years ago. But there wasn't that many ethnic people in Scotland in the unit. Do you know what I mean? There was a
no,
few,
yeah, yeah,
but there wasn't. It wasn't. There wasn't. Everyone knew who the people were, rather than you don't usually know who's in different troops and companies, do you? But you'd know the ethnic people everywhere. Well, do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Because they're definitely a minority,
Yeah,
even more so. I
yeah.
guess in that small world of the core.
Well, even more in the Norway.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. How to stand out on an ML's course.
Thanks. Oh no, I always had to wear a gimp suit.
Oh dear. Some of the honestly, when you think back at some of the shit you used to get and just laugh it off. And I think that in itself is one of the things that stands you in such good stead for when you leave.
Yeah,
Because you've got such a thick skin and it doesn't, people can say whatever they want to you and it
yeah,
doesn't even touch you, does it?
no. And most of the time, when you do leave, it's behind your back anyway, so that's even easier.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
because nobody's got the balls to say it to your face. Yeah.
yeah, and it makes you feel more better, doesn't it? Because you know it's happening. You don't give a shit because we're better.
Yeah.
You feel you're better than them anyway. So bothered, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. I mean, what's your take on because resilience is kind of a buzzword,
Hmm.
I think more and more so these days. And there's different forms of it, obviously.
Yeah,
Um, and I think our mental resilience in the core is definitely enhanced through the physical hardship
yeah, yeah,
in a lot of
absolutely.
ways, because you have to be mentally resilient to put up with that shit in the first place.
Well, you know, when it's always a long evolution, i.e., a yomp ski, whatever. It's not a quick thing, is it? It's for the full day or ever how long it is. So
Yeah,
from the mindset of the night before. I mean, remember the nights before BFTs? You get the BFT blues, and you would be,
yeah,
you'd be shitting yourself a little bit. But once you got past that, and you you go on these big um, training exercises, you don't get the blues or anything, but you mentally prepare yourself because tomorrow potentially you're going to be on that hill for 8 hours. And if you
yeah,
mong it and someone says, "Where are you?" or you're in the shit. You've got, or they'll say, you go up front and take over, or there's a casualty, or you constantly be on. You have to be on your game, and then you're fighting the elements. If your admin hasn't been squared away, you're going to let the team down because they're potentially going to start having to look after you and put some kind of shelter up because you've messed up.
yeah, yeah. And nobody wants to be a liability.
No, and you could see that after you've been in a little while, and you could see the newer guys coming, and in the mornings you could see the fright the frightened, because it's a big world then, and you're in these big elements and an environment, and it's nice that as a core we don't take the piss. I mean, we all take the piss, but we don't take the piss out of them because they're on edge. Do you know what I mean? It's
No.
to get the best out of them, help them, and mentor them so that they can successfully get to the other side in a good state, and you're not having to use all your reserves to get him there in the first place, because you know he can do it, but he needs that confidence and mentoring to get across that himself, and because he's there anyway, it means he's got it in him, because he's done everything he needs to be in that position there. But 100%. he also needs a steer, and sometimes fathering, really, because the age differences on how we are in the core, you know, it's vast, really, if you think about it. You could actually be there flipping fathers anyway because of the age difference. So you've got to take them on, you know, and get them to where they need to be, and so they can keep that process going, to keep the core going, to keep us good at what we do.
Do you think that's where the cuffing starts? Not so much in training, but when you get out of training, when you get to your first unit.
Yeah, because you want to do good. Yeah, you want to do good because you're so keen, and that's where you want it to be. But you haven't got a clue how to do it. You don't know how to do it because all you've been taught is every lesson from 1 to however much it goes to in Limpston. That's all you know. A lesson. Someone's give you a lesson plan and taught you it. Once you get into the big wild unit, that's not how it works.
No.
That's the start point, but it's done different there. And there's so many things that you haven't been taught that you are making it up, and you're on edge because you're watching. You've got to watch and take in what's going on. You can't. That's not the time to mong it, because if you don't, because if you're the person who constantly puts their hands up, I don't know. People want you to do that, but 2, 3, 4 times after that, then people will be pissed off with you. They don't. If you're not willing to get that on board straight away or soon, then people are wasting their time to get you to the position where you should be.
Yeah, you've got to be proactive as well, haven't you? You've got to do your own homework and figure things out. And if you can't figure it out, then put your hand up. But it's daunting.
One thing that's throughout my career really is I was never quick at that process of learning it straight away. So I had to do it in my spare time.
Yeah.
So that I could catch up and not let myself down, but not let people see that I'm a little bit lower, as it were. Do you know what I mean? I would on an evening get my head around whatever I needed to, or think about this, or practice something, so that the next time we was doing that lesson, or whatever it was, I'd be back to where I should be, because when I got taught that straight away, like, I ain't got a fucking clue. Do you know what I mean?
I felt that quite a lot.
But some people won't put their hands up, and that because I will. I'm like, look, I'm sorry, I ain't got a fucking clue. You just show me how to do that. Not, I ain't got a fucking clue. And that takes more of you opening up to the somebody to say, oh, okay, mate, just either here, do this, or I'll show you how to do it tonight, or whatever, to get through that. It's a steep learning curve. It really is. And whatever we do, mate, it's dangerous. It's all dangerous. So if you don't sort it out, someone's going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt, or it's not going to end well.
No, it's not. From day one of training, the learning curve's like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it doesn't change once you get to a unit. You just get used to learning at that rate.
and there's more stuff coming in because
Yeah,
there's more areas where we need to work. There's more in different environments. There's different lesson plans. It's all different. So it's a muddle, but who we are, we need to, because of the role we've got as a whole, we need to be good at it, because not many other units in the UK do what the Corps does, so they have to be the top dogs at it.
yeah, yeah. And it's I don't know, I shat myself when when you leave training, you get to a unit, and I just looking around, and there's all these blokes that look like they've just come out, just left the Falklands.
Yeah, big gorillas.
And
Yeah, and they're all hard. Oh,
fucking hell, yeah.
mate, I joined 4 or 5, and I joined training at 52 kilograms, and I passed out about 60. My son came downstairs yesterday. I goes, "Oh, how much do you weigh, mate?" He's 12. He's 60 kilograms. I went to 4 or 5 like that.
Fucking hell. Mad, isn't it? That's nuts.
12. He's bigger than me as well.
Oh no, my son was 18 in August, and he's taller than me. He's got hands like snow shovels and feet like freaking skis. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's really be resilient at home. If I don't do as I'm told, he'll beat the shit out of me.
No. We're walking downtown. Do you want to come with me?
Yeah, please.
Come on. I'll buy a McDonald's.
Be like, fuck off, you can buy me a pint.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh dear. I I do like the old adage of no cuff too tough, and the eternal cuff, because as we spoke about before we started, that is absolutely all we do. And I think there's a constant sense of overload of information when you're in the Corps. Training is 8 months of just overload and overwhelm, physically, mentally, emotionally, everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting out into the wide, big, bad world of the Corps, it doesn't change, and you are constantly having to absorb information really quickly and be bloody good at applying it, like
I mean,
that.
one thing you don't get taught is when you do go to that stage, you're meant to be a Viking at drinking as well. That's hard.
Yeah, yeah, that
That's
is.
hard.
Yeah,
And you go straight into a room full of, like you say, big hard men, and they're flipping, they're drinking like 10 men.
yeah.
And like you say, I was flipping 9.5 stones or something, and you've got to try and not, I won't say keep up, but you've got to put your best effort in.
Yeah, because you can't. Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
slacking in any quarter. There's no quarter,
No,
no
no,
mercy.
no. And because they're all flipping professional drinkers,
Yeah,
you're trying to sneak away. You're flipping. You pull back. I've had
I
enough. I
don't.
haven't had enough yet. I'll
Yeah, I
put you in
don't
a
drink.
taxi when I'm ready.
Yeah, and that's it. Especially for early days in your unit, first
Yeah,
time. Jesus Christ, yeah, nobody spoke to me. I got grunted at.
yeah, yeah. You haven't earned to be talked to.
Yeah, fucking. It's. There's so. I think there is a massive difference between the Corps and the rest of the military in pretty much every sense. I think on every level, and I think that the level of resilience is different because of that. And I think it also makes that there's always, no matter who you work with, you always develop that bond with the people you're with when you go
Mm,
through hardship.
mm.
And that bond helps you to get through things, does it? Because
Yeah,
you've got
yeah,
that support
yeah,
in skill and capability and professionalism, but also in humor and compassion, and people apply those things all at the right moments.
Mm,
Well,
yeah,
most people do. Some people get it back to front, but
yeah. But it's like the fact when someone gets hurt,
yeah,
you start laughing at it,
yeah,
and everyone start laughing. Why did you do that? Completely, but it might not have been the person's fault. It's just been something's happened to him, or he's had some kind of problem, and you're laughing, and then
yeah,
it keeps his head off the fact that he's flipping hurting because
yeah,
everyone's laughing and poking the bad bits.
yeah. Oh, that looks sore.
Oh, look at that! Oh, does anyone know how to do that? Yeah, I'll cuff it and put something on it and squeeze it or something. All of a sudden, you just fell over and someone's getting you a Chinese burn.
I do remember being on an exercise in the med, and we were doing this night attack, and we were quite bunched up, so we were told to move to spread out, and the guys went out to the right hand side. What we didn't know was a 20-foot drop. We all got Bergens, and this guy stepped off, landed Bergen first, obviously, like a Ninja Turtle, and he laid there. I mean, had no idea where he'd gone. All we could hear was this thud and this groan in the dark. Took 5 minutes to find him. Had no idea if he'd broke his back or if he was alive or fucking whatever. But the amount of piss taken because of that, because he just stepped off into it was like must have been like a bloody Tom and Jerry cartoon.
Well, we never had any kind of night vision capabilities then, so everything was pitch black, and you had to move pitch black.
Yeah.
If you think about it nowadays, they've all the soldiers have got night capabilities, so the movement is shouldn't be any different. Whereas in our case, like you say, we're walking. It's always the terrain's always going to be horrible wherever we was put.
Yes.
But it was pictures as well, so you've got to keep in that snake in the frigging dark.
Yeah. Oh,
and won't behind you if you put a torch on. Oh my god, you are going to get filled in then.
Oh god, yeah. They throw you off that fucking 20-foot drop.
Yeah.
Being a dick. So how much do you think the ML's course upped your resilience?
I wouldn't. That was a cuff to start with because basically I was in Ireland and I wanted to get out of Ireland. So how can I get out of Ireland? There's an ML course. Oh, I'll put in for it. Oh, I did that, and my fitness has always been pretty good. So the fitness part of it wasn't really. Of course it's testing, but it's not. It wasn't a breaker. Do you know what I mean? I think that the first part of the Cornwall, the climbing was hard because firstly I can't climb and I still can't climb, but it was mental because I had to use my arms and that was the worst thing because the flipping tennis elbows constantly was a grind because I didn't have the technical know-how to climb.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the confidence because I didn't actually like the climb that bit, and it was brute force that I had to pull myself up constantly, and I suppose that was very challenging, and trying not to, because you're not allowed to look. I've got a face that if I don't put a smile on, it looks like I'm threaders all the time, and people who take courses hate that, don't they? You can't do that. You've got to make people think you're having fun when you're getting beasted.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you get beasted more kind of thing because you look as if you're pissed off. And it's a no. You can't.
It's the art of masking is definitely a good one to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a few times. Well, my wife sometimes I'll look at her and she always says, "Why do you always give me the look as if you're going to kill me?" And I go, How do you actually know that is my look that I'm going to kill you? Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's my normal thread is when I'm looking, and she's like, if you do that to people, and I have done it, she goes, you're looking at it as if you want to kill him, and you don't mean it, but it's just, it's the normal resting kind of thing.
Yeah.
And all through my big courses, I've always had to play on it to smile. Even at work, and when I'm looking after high profile people sometimes, and say if I'm moaning or something, I'll just quickly remind myself, because if they're looking at me, it looks like I'm pissed off.
Yeah, I know. I'm the same. I just, it was last night or the night before. It's kind of, it went from resting bitch face to fuck off and die face.
Mm.
So yeah, it's
It's challenging.
Yeah, I've given up now. I just don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, I've just pissed myself.
Yeah. Oh dear, oh dear. So what?
But yeah, sorry.
No, go on, carry on.
Yeah. So the MLS course. I mean, once I got past the Cornwall, and then it's just the yom thing for quite a few months. Which,
Yeah,
if you're in the mind, if you, I won't say learn how to. Well, it is kind of a learning how to yom. When I first in training, that was a struggle for me because my legs were so frigging short. I was kind of, quote, tabbing a bit, if you see what I mean, rather than
yeah,
to yom, because I couldn't actually keep up because the Bergen was bigger than me anyway, kind of thing. And to go straight onto one of my first exercises when I passed out was straight onto mountain training, carrying a
yeah,
flipping a mortar flicking fucking whatever it is, the bipod thing. And with that weight and trying to keep up with everyone, because everyone's always bigger than me, it was a challenge.
yeah,
But it took me years to being able to stretch. It sounds ridiculous, but to stretch the pace to keep up with people, because if I
yeah,
didn't, then I would have pissed everyone off.
yeah,
And you know how it is if you're all moving as a group and someone's lagging behind, and you want to get to that end and get in the tent or get into wherever you want to flip and chill out for the night, and there's someone lagging, that's not good.
yeah. Yeah, it's fucking. I know. I hated yomping doing low carries. Just fucking because it was never your own marching pace. My ass. Fuck off.
Yeah. Mm, yeah.
Absolute bullshit.
Mm. Yeah,
It's always some long
it's
hack's
wrong.
pace. It's wrong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's someone who's really big, got a long stride, and that
Yeah,
Bergen's nothing to him.
yeah, yeah. It's like a day sack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And he was out at the weekend doing it anyway because he loves it.
yeah. Yes, probably. Yeah.
But I was down the Waverley.
Sounds about right. Yeah, yeah. I know which I'd choose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you want to do a low carry or do you want to go at the pub? Um.
Can I just
Yeah.
can I just predate a check down the post office first? Oh,
Yeah.
when you talk about things like that, you know what I mean? It's unbelievable,
Yeah.
isn't it? Can I just bounce a check for next month?
Yeah. A good old naffy. Forever
And the
doing
thing
that.
is, the older guys are like that. What are you doing today? I'm coming out. You ain't got enough. I ain't got any money. You have got somebody. Go sort it out.
Yeah. Go to the naffy, bounce a check.
Yeah, and then you'll pay for taxi for downtown for everybody.
Yeah. Yes. There's so many things. You forget some of the stupid shit that used to happen. It's just ridiculous stuff that blokes get up to. It is ridiculous. And I've been back on a kind of informal reunions down in Plymouth with lads from 4-2. Fuck it. And it's just the stuff that you remember when you get drunk, because you always remember the stuff you did when you were drunk. You remember it when you're drunk again. It seems to come back
Yeah,
because you're in same state as when you did it.
you're you froze.
Have I? Oh, it's
Fine.
probably snowing
You
again.
just slowly. Uh, you're in.
That's all right, mate. I
Well,
retired. It's
mate,
fine.
my when I was in Plymouth, I actually met my wife in two trees naked.
What, she was naked?
No, obviously I was, but easy.
She was naked, so you thought you'd join in.
Doing the can.
Excellent. Oh dear. Yeah, the Plymouth was fantastic in those days. It really was. It's definitely changed, but bloody hell, yeah, we used to get away with murder, absolute murder. It's just, and it, yeah, there's sometimes I think that some things shouldn't change because it's just denying so much fun.
Yeah,
And I'm not a fan of the way the way society and culture is changing.
yeah, yeah. It's like the Barbican on a Sunday session. Someone's going in the water. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Always. Yeah, yeah. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I know I fell in pissed a few times. Took a wrong turn and just stepped off with a Captain Jasper's in my hand.
Oh, mate, a foot long Captain Jasper's.
Good bit of kit.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh my word. I know. I tell you what, that's food's been a big part of it as well, isn't it? It's just
yeah,
constant
yeah, yeah. You're constantly refueling all the time.
refueling with food, alcohol, and humor.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, definitely. It's as much as the piss ta I do much as the piss taking happens, I do remember being in Ireland and one of the older bolder lads lost the plot and was going a bit rogue, and the lads really quickly just rallied round, got him sorted. He ended up coming back to UK, back to mainland, I think, but to
yeah,
get some help. But yeah, just the speed in which it just switched, piss taking, and it just
mm,
stopped, sorted, took care of their own,
yeah,
and yeah, very, very, very quick. Quite impressive, actually, thinking back on it, how quick that
yeah,
change
yeah.
was, and how
Well,
how well they took care of him.
yeah. Well, if you think about how close we actually were with people, you know,
Yeah,
the different things and the different situations we was in with the same people constantly. You know everything about that person because you're always in a position where you're always having a bit of downtime and you start doing the band and then you go into everyone tells the life story and everyone knows about everyone else and everyone knows people's weaknesses as well, so you
yeah,
actually know everything about that. And if that person needs, he won't particularly ask you for it, but you can tell the way he's looking at you or the way he's acting that there's a big problem, and you know it's your duty to flipping either have a chat in his ear or go and get someone else to flipping take care of it.
yeah, yeah. And it's that level of camaraderie is
Yeah.
something I miss. Probably the thing I miss the most.
Yeah. Well, and also if you think about it, if you don't do something about it, the amount of equipment that you've got in your hands or that you've got to use if you need to is ridiculous.
Yeah,
You could do a lot of damage. If you actually lost it and went down that line of going banzai, as it were,
yeah,
that's not that's not a good place. You're not going to come out that quickly. and
No,
in a different, completely different way.
no, because you've got quite a skill set to go with the
And
kit.
yeah, and also with that, if an outside agency saw that, then they go to town on you. But if you can get in there and get round him first and mold him back to where he needs to be, then that's the safest place and the safest way to do it, rather than opening the gate and letting someone come in and roll over him, as it were.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's yeah, definitely look after our own, and I think that stands out. Even having left, how much
Mm.
that unity kind of carries on.
Yeah,
That's it's
and
nice.
it makes you we're good. It makes you really good at reading people as well, and reading how
Yes.
what place people are in. When you've been through years of doing that and reading people and being on either side of that, then you've got that skill, and it's a life skill that you can understand and read people and
Yes.
prevent a situation or whatever you need to, rather than being a Hmong and not understanding, not having the knowledge
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
how to actually help. You know, and we're all big men. That word help, it shouldn't be a dirty word. It shouldn't be.
No, it is less so, but it's still there, isn't it? That perception
Yeah,
for a lot of people,
yeah,
which
and people shouldn't. I know it's easy to say, but you shouldn't be. You should pull your guards down and not be too proud. And that all comes with spending time with people, because
yeah,
then you let your barriers down, and you know that that person is doing whatever he's doing to be a good person for you. And it's all them times when you've been in that flipping shell scrape, or you've been on mountain training in a blizzard, and you know people's rock bottoms, so you can look at them in the face and say, "You're in the shit state. Let's fucking sort you out."
yes, yeah, yeah. I remember seeing that in even right the early days in being in training and the training team. It was the
Yeah,
weather was absolutely fucking honking, and one of the lads was going down, and so one of the training team went off and made a cup of tea while I
yeah,
got asked to strip down and do star jumps with this guy and burpees and stuff in our pants in the fucking snow and sleet and wind to get this guy to warm up because he
mm,
was going down. So they get him moving.
yeah,
They got me to do it with him, and we both had a
yeah,
cup of tea. We had, big mug of tea with and they tipped some rum in it, and
yeah, yeah,
just that shift, pushing you, and they go, right, okay, you're fucked. We need to take care of you now.
yeah, yeah. And everybody in that situation will remember that for life, and
Yeah.
learn something different. Everyone will learn something different to each other as well, because they was in a different position.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. It's so with all this kind of experience from the military in so many different ways, kind of in each stage, kind of maybe not changing your resilience, but enhancing it and embedding it deeper, I guess, with the different roles that
Yeah.
you've had. How 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 has that stood you in good stead in getting into into the real world?
Well, I personally think, um, coming this side, i.e., leaving the military, has been easy. People, people, you hear people have struggled. They can't do this. They can't get that. You hear a lot of that kind of stuff, and we all can't be in a situation where we can just roll into whatever.
Yeah,
But for me personally, going through all the 20 bloody odd years of It wasn't bad. It was just the steps and the different routes and the different exposures that puts life skills in different places and in different blocks, you know, all the way through. It's like the Giant's Causeway. It's all them. It's that path through all that you're climbing on different ways around it, because it's not straight at all. You know where you're meant to be. You can see that light, but it's like I've always said, it's like a ping pong machine. That's me personally. I've always been going left and right. I know where I need to be, and sometimes I'm marking time, which is obviously everyone hates that, and it's wasting time and it's frustrating. And you need to, like I said, potentially put more effort into the know-how to start moving again. Because some of us can't keep at that pace. Not all of us can keep at the pace that we've been told to keep at. So that's our marking time, and then getting back onto that and just moving left and right. But when you get to that top pinnacle that you want to be, that pinnacle's moved then. So you're back on another route of, I've got that now. I need my next 5 years. My aim in the next 5 years is to be there, or whatever you aim for. And then you're back on that pinball, or you know, the Giant's Causeway, going across it until you, and that's how I've always thought about it. I mean, I didn't think about that obviously in the younger days, but now I've got the knowledge to understand what was actually going on. That's how I've pictured it.
Yeah.
And me getting to basically the start line was, you know, the transition. I didn't really think that transition was a transition. I left, my end date was the April, but I left the September before, and I started my civilian job in the January. So I didn't. My advice was, from loads of people, have time out. You know, go out, you know, go off and do what you need to do. And my wife even told me to do that, and the family did. But I was like, no, I need to get the second part too. I got the job, and then that was my next vision. And I didn't really have the transition. When people get worried about this transition, I didn't really there wasn't a barrier. It was just right. That's my fucking Siemens kit bag on that line there. I'm here now. I've got a proper suitcase.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the only, there's a few little difficulties, but my main difficulty, I went straight into an office, and the most difficult part of the whole change was having to talk properly to people. That was it. And that, it was challenging. It kind of still is a little bit challenging, but that was the most difficult part of the outside. And it's the cogs still move because usually something happens. I'll say something, oh, fuck, you know, and I've learned to fucking give myself a quick pause, because I'm going to get myself in the shit. And then, because you want to throw that out, and then when you've thrown that out, we learn quickly that there's part two coming really to back that up in it. So you're getting ready to throw something else out, but it's really been difficult to fucking stop that bit and try and pause before you actually fucking throw it all out, and then try and have a gap, and then process what they're going to come back at you with, because it's going to be all nice kind of thing, not like we would, are you knob, or something like that. You've got to be politically correct.
Yeah, I struggle with that, I have to confess. Yeah, I do struggle with that.
It's challenging.
Yeah, it is trying to I have learned to do it, but I still screw it up sometimes, especially when you start to get more comfortable with people.
The barriers come down.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah, but then it's like that. Oh, fuck, I shouldn't have said that. But then you've got to roll with it and kind of make it into a funny. But you're laughing, but they're not laughing at it. They're laughing. They're not laughing. Sorry, they're not laughing because you've been kind of they think you're being out of order.
Yeah.
But you're giggling inside. You're giggling inside. Like, try not to put a face on it.
Yeah, it's a constant test and adjust. That's for sure. There's no
Yeah,
denying that one.
yeah,
Yeah, I think I've honestly had to cuff things more since leaving the military than I ever did when I was in,
yeah, yeah.
because it's
Absolutely.
just there's so many twists and turns and unexpected elements to
Yeah.
this side of the world.
And I personally think as well, because you want to be the best at what you always want to do, you've got to cuff it because you haven't got all the answers all the way up there. You've got to roll with it and make the decisions and bounce along it, and it's all made up. You
Yeah,
don't know how you've got to that part because what you've just done, you can't remember. You've blagged it. So, but that's the hardest bit. You've just
yeah,
blagged something, and someone's trying to ask you how you just what you've done. Then that's proper, even double blagging it because you don't know how you've just done that, or you don't know if it's the right thing to tell them that what you've actually just done.
yeah. That's the first time I've done it. I've got no idea. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's because then people who are looking at you doing that, they think you're a switched on, brilliant hoofing kind of guy, and you don't want to let them know that. No.
no, actually, I'm a fuckwit.
I got fucking clue.
Yeah, I'm just really adaptable.
Yeah, I
That's
can,
the
I
hard
can,
bit.
I can roll with it. Yeah, yeah, it is.
Constantly being dropped in the
But it,
shit.
yeah, but it's exciting though, isn't it? It's not
It is.
boring. That's the
No.
thing about it. It's not mundane. It's not the usual. It's we're making our own paths, and we're making it because we've got, even though we're older, we've still got the energy to do stuff and the want. And if you've got that in your mind, and you've got a frigging big heart, because we've all the people who want to do that have got big hearts, and people forget about that. You know, you haven't seen a mate for a long time. What do we do? When I first joined the military, it was a bit, oh, now it's a hug. It's a
Yeah.
hug. It's
Yes.
it's a proper hug. That's that's actually been challenging if you think about it. All going through all the stages of the boot neck stuff and stuff, to be able to do that and be manly kind of with your oppo like that. That has been a challenge, but it's right.
Yeah.
Once it's been right and you've been in that position and you felt that position, and it's actually normal and it's nice that this this man will do anything for me as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know that he's got my back and I've got his back, and I want him to go home, or and we
100%.
we shouldn't be embarrassed to hug. Do you know what I mean? And
No,
we was too
absolutely
hard
not.
when we joined. People was too hard to do any kind of emotion.
It was completely off script. Wasn't allowed.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah. Stiff upper lip, straight down the line.
yeah, yeah,
Aggression, yes. Express that to your heart's content.
yeah,
But
yeah.
oh, this soft
There's
wishy
nothing.
washy.
There's nothing on the other side.
No,
Yeah,
no. That 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 was a challenge in terms of relationships. That was a challenge for me to
yeah,
overcome. And I know it's been the
yeah.
same for a lot of guys. It's
Well, it's
just
also that it's also when you're in these on these operations and you're working with next to civvies who you're kind of looking after, but you're in a war situation, but you still want to help them and you want to hug them because they've just had the house been blown up, whatever it is,
yeah,
but they're quote meant to be the enemy, but they're not. It's a woman and a kid. So
yeah,
what? Or it's a man who he's got nothing to do with the badness there. He's a man. He's just in the wrong place at the wrong time. You've got to
yeah,
show your resilience. That he's not the bad person. They're there because just they're there. It, that we're all
Yes.
human together, and they don't want this as much as we want that, and we're just they're just in the middle of what we need to get round to get to whoever we need to stop to try and stop that, and that going into them environments from being the tough bootleg when you through the 90s, etc., because we never got exposed to anything like that. That was challenging. That was very challenging. That you put into a war zone, but not everybody's bad.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the thing as I was talking about earlier, what I do these days is about emotional and psychological resilience. And you can't have the
Mm.
psychological resilience without being emotionally resilient. Because if you can't manage your emotions and you're losing your shit all the time, you're then not
Yeah.
psychologically resilient. So being in control
Mm.
is being able to channel your emotions, understand what they are and channel them in the right way in any given moment makes you
Mm.
extraordinarily psychologically resilient.
We don't necessarily read ourselves.
No,
We don't understand. We don't sometimes understand ourselves. Right. Stop a
absolutely.
second. What am I? What's going? What's the first? What's my first thoughts? Because usually the first thoughts are the bad. The bad. There's something that you're expected to do, but if you take a second, you think I shouldn't be doing that because, like I said, they're actually nice people. It's not their fault. But the first reaction is, right, get hold of them, plastic off them. They're all bad.
Yeah.
It's that quick process and learning to adapt and be humane.
Yes.
Which, as a soldier, when at the beginning of your career as a soldier, you're not taught that. You're a soldier. That's it. You're just a
Yeah.
soldier. You're a robot soldier. That you shouldn't have feelings. But going through all them processes, I learned it by being in it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Because we didn't get we didn't we no one talked about it or anything like that. It was just right. You're going on these scenarios, and we're doing kill, get whatever you're doing, and then you get out into the environment, and you're on edge straight away because everything that's been thrown at you on exercise for the last 6 months has made you be put on edge, and you're in a flipping you're not in a good position. You're not adaptable because you've been made to be a robot potentially, rather than be a soldier and a human. It's two different things. But because you're in that country or environment or whatever, wherever it is, they've been told, or you've been taught that you're a soldier. You walk down there, you don't speak to him, you don't do that, you don't help her across the road, you don't grab her and throw her in a room so she don't get hurt. You don't get taught that. Everybody's after you, or you're after them. That was different.
Yeah. It's not like we were. If only there was, and I think there is an element of this being certainly within the core. They're delving into emotional intelligence a lot more and have been for a little while. But can you imagine if in our
Yeah.
day going on your emotions threes course?
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't pass.
I know.
There won't be an end of course piss up, would there?
No, no. He's all fucking Freddied out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been fantastic to have had because it helps you to make that distinction then, doesn't it? Of
Yeah.
when,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's only as you said, it's only through experience that we learn to do that. And then
Well, hopefully the people who are training the guys now have all been in them situations. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully that they can put on their experiences to the recruits now.
yeah,
Because, do you know what I mean? Because the whole cycle's changed now because there's so many in the 90s. people and there was no wars or conflicts, or there was bits here and there, but there wasn't proper getting the rounds down, being in challenging situations, thinking on your feet, moving, all that kind of stuff. Where there's been a big 20 years of violence,
Yeah.
that we can understand how we've dealt with it and hopefully pass that on. But the problem now potentially is because for the last quite a few years it's been on a pause again, that might have put us back into the R90s kind of training again, because they're coming out and they're not going to get experience. And there's a problem with the corps at the moment trying to get people in, etc., etc. Because if you think about it, for the whole 90s, we didn't do anything. I was watching Trisha and all that kind of stuff, and we was in the grots quite most of the time, weren't we? And we was doing fizz. That's it. And throwing flipping food, having food fights in the galley, and it wasn't really soldiering. We weren't really doing anything.
Oh dear.
And it was the island. It was the island trips that we'd get scared to shit by going down Lid, and everyone's a bad person, and everyone wants to blow you or kill you. Then you're walking around flipping island like shaking Stevens, flipping on edge because everything's coming at you, and you're told not to talk to anybody. Yet again, we weren't allowed to talk. Whereas, if you think about it, if we went there now and without the experience of what we've all been through, you talk to these people and make a relationship, rather than fucking everyone's evil.
Yeah, because it's always a minority of people, isn't it, that want to cause the shit. Most people just want to get on with life.
Yeah, and
it's weird. No, I stopped doing all that stupid shit in 2008, and it was, I don't know, it's a strange thing. It's a very, having had that sense of humor for such a long time, and I was studying psychology along the way, so I kind of that I don't know whether that definitely helped me understand myself more, especially when I was identifying how much of an arsehole I was at times. And quite often at the most inappropriate times, which was but then that it's that cut and thrust. We get trained to deal with whatever's stressful and threatening with aggression and violence, and it's a difficult switch out of that. I still to this day have this stupid train of thought. Well, most of the time it's stupid, but if I'm walking around even where I live now, or anywhere else, if there's a group of blokes, whether it's teenagers or adults, when I see them, and if I've got to go, if they're in my path, the first thought goes into my head still to this day is, if this goes tits, which one of these fuckers do I need to take out first?
Yeah, and it's been programmed.
Yeah, and
it's in that hard drive. You can't delete it.
No, and I'm glad it won't be, because it's a good safety mechanism.
It's a good thing, yeah.
Especially the way the world's going, it's crawling up its fucking own arse and dying. So to have that situational awareness still there and have that mechanism there is a good thing. But it's still, most of the time it's inappropriate. It's not actually needed.
Yeah.
But it's still, the hairs in the back of your neck go up.
That's it. Action's on.
Yeah, absolutely. So it still happens, and my dad's the same. My dad was in the Corps.
Yeah.
He went straight out training into the trees in Borneo in the 60s.
Wow.
And had some tasty experiences there, and he's still the same.
Yeah, yeah,
And he's a knackered
yeah.
old fart. And there's no way he couldn't fight his way out of a wet paper bag now.
Mm.
Bless him. But and he'll hate me for saying that. So I'm gonna make sure he listens to this from now. But yeah, there's some, and I think it's that, and that again is, it's an extreme end of the thought process of resilience, but that's the sort of shit that keeps you alive, because it keeps you
Yeah,
aware of
yeah,
potential.
yeah. It keeps that warrior instinct constant.
Yeah, I don't ever want to lose that, no matter how old and gimpy I get.
Mm. Yeah.
So how,
But it's our cave. It's our caveman. We're
absolutely,
always looking. You know,
yeah,
what's going to attack? What's coming?
yeah, it's a good thing. I think more people need it. More people need it.
Yeah.
Um, so now you after leaving most of that sort of silliness behind, although
Yeah.
you're running a business
Yep.
and still involved in that side of things, but not quite at the same pointy end of it. So what is it you're
No.
doing now, and how has that kind of that development of resilience helped you to start your business and get it to where it's at now?
So, like I mentioned, when I first left, I went into an office for 2 years, and at the end of that, because it was COVID, they got rid of me, nicely. But
Yeah,
when I left, I put it straight on LinkedIn. Within a couple of days, got done a job, and it was into the security world as quote close protection, and it was straight for royalty. So I went straight to an office, straight to looking after royalty. And before I left, I said to myself, I don't want to do that. But when I went into it, I was like, I'm comfortable. I'm back into. I'm in my comfort zone. I've got experience in this. I've worked in this environment forever.
yeah,
The people I'm working with are on the same. They're on the same wavelength. We can give each other shit. We can laugh, take the piss, but we
yeah,
know when to be. We know when to draw the line. We're in front of the client. Will work, but we always. But you know what each other's doing because that's how we work. You look at your mates and see how they're doing and what they're doing and how they move their body. It, because you know what they're thinking by the way they're acting. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And that's from who we are. That's a massive advantage. It's huge because you don't need to speak to people. You don't need to. You just move into a position where you can assist or you can take over
yeah.
or do your job without even talking to each other because you understand each other and you've got that confidence to do that. So I did that. I went straight into that and did that for a couple of years. And then I moved on from that, did a bit of bouncing around, looking after celebrities. And then I actually, I had a chance to go to Ukraine and be on the front line and do a bit of looking after media people, which I was a bit worried, to be honest. But when I got out there, oh, I was I was in a comfort zone again.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the comfort that the stuff happening. I was more than happy and comfortable by being there for somebody else. Weirdly, so my
Okay.
clients, I was liking the fact that I was looking after them, making sure they're safe, understanding what's going on in the environment because I'm used to that environment and where to go and how to react and you know what's happening after that thing happens and that because you know what you've been in the situation, you know how it works
Yeah.
and you know how to get out you know what the routes are, you know the procedures, and I found that really rewarding, to be honest. But it it was I did that for 3 or 4 weeks, but when I came back, I thought, right, I liked that, but I left the military because I'd had too many chances. I was just lucky, and it
Yeah.
was, and that was the main reason why I left. I was very lucky, and some of the situations were people weren't as lucky. So I was fortunate to put my hand up and say, that's it. So after I came back from the UK, I thought, I did get a buzz out of it, but I'm working against my beliefs because I left because we don't know how many lives we've got left. I think because I left, I thought I've not got any lives left. I look life because they've all gone. So I'm not going to do that anymore. And I did a few more celebrities and pop stars and things. And then I took some lawyers away and to do a investigation into in another country, shall we say. When I came back, I got the opportunity to start my own company, and that was last year. And since then, mate, it's been amazing because I think people want. It sounds stupid and maybe a little bit big-headed, but they want me.
Yeah.
When you talk to people, that they actually, I'm selling me, and sometimes I don't need to sell me because I do a lot of work on LinkedIn or the media or social media, but people want to understand or talk to me and find out about me and what I'm up to, which I don't know these people, and they start talking to them, and these relationships you're getting bounced and bounced and bounced, and then doors opening, and you're talking to people at the levels of they are in these big companies and things, and that's amazing because they want. And I'm not a person who goes out and shoots, big times or anything like that, but it's they want a part of me, and I've been humble because it's humbling and working with that rather than taking the piss out of that.
Yeah.
To work with them and find their problems and being able to assist them by using the skills that I've got and my business partner's got, that we're building our own company on that. And the level of the people that we bring in are the level of my old job kind of thing. So it's reassuring for the client that they've got the best in the business as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You using your track record. And why not?
Yeah.
It's what people want and need.
And when I first started being a little more open of, obviously with the restrictions, but of where I'd come from, we do get told that you can't go in, you can't tell people. I don't tell people what I shouldn't tell people, but I tell people where I was, not where I was, but like what unit I was, shall we say, and things like that.
Yeah.
And that really helps as well. And I think people who, and this is just my experience, people who don't talk about that and put it all to one side, I think they've seen themselves off. I really do. I mean, there's obviously the level of being in front of everything and saying they've done everything and getting books and but milking it, shall we say. And the people who worked with them know they're milking it. But the humble people who want to make their next career out of it, level-headed and helping people to come out and be your team as well. Like people who are leaving, I'll give them advice and try and help them as best as I can, or try and give them a way in, because we all need a helping hand. We do. I mean, some people can, like, I was fortunate enough to come out and not have a challenge, but some people do have challenges. And if you can bring them and kind of mentor them and give pointers or put them on a ladder or put them in touch with who potentially could give them a way in or direction or advice, etc., then why wouldn't you? Because at some point you might need their help, and it's all networking, and it's been it's back to the old school of day one, week one, buddy system. It really is, because you don't know when you need that.
No, 100%. I'm a huge paying it forwards.
If you keep on bouncing around doing it, and you're perceived as a good egg, or ring him up, he might be able to help you. I get that's a buzz. That's
Yeah,
that's that's good.
it is. It's not, it feels good to be able to help people. And why not? We've
Yeah,
all been at the point where we've struggled, we're starting something new. And
yeah,
it's about having a bit of compassion for somebody who's been in the same spot as you, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
I'm a massive believer in paying it forwards.
Mm,
That's
absolutely, mate.
that's probably why I set up a charity. But there we
Fair well, mate.
go. So where's what what would you like to to promote? What is it you're working on, and what are you looking for business wise? Because you never know who. I've no idea who's going to see this. So
So,
what would you like to promote?
so, so my company is Black Box Global. We work with potentially, or sorry, my team or my network is mostly Tier One UKSF or the Royal Marines or that level Tier Two. So it's they're not on, they're not employed as such full time employment, but the network,
Yeah,
if whatever specific job task comes from the client, i.e., if they want someone who's a family man and look after kids, blah, all that kind of stuff, but be a bodyguard as well, then that's easy to find. You don't need, you're not looking for the flipping 6'6" bloke with Oakleys on. You want someone who's a family man who's been through that, who's got um, parental knowledge, and actually is happy to go in the garden and quote play around with children and doing all that,
yeah,
but keeping them in a safe area. So I think from from the people who we work or have worked with, i.e., our backgrounds, that helps us because we know that guy's a family man, but he's switched on. He's switched on as well, and he's good at as a security minded person. Pull him out and put him in that situation. So it's not a case of someone client ringing up and saying, "Can I have a bodyguard?" We don't work like that. It is, what actually do you want? Do you want someone who follows you kind of, but you can't see them? They're somewhere around you, and if something's going to happen, that it's going to be taken care of. But as a client, you can walk down the street, you can go shopping and enjoy your pattern of life rather than getting two flipping hunks walking around you, which is drawing attention.
yeah,
People then going to look in, who are you? So that's what we aim for. It's not just the post protection. We're doing a task looking after a port. We're doing the security of a port in a Scandinavian country that is it's going to start getting big and expanding. So we're going to do the security and all aspects of the security of that.
okay,
We work with a couple of companies who are lawyers. So when lawyers go to various countries to do investigations, then we'll go with them to protect them and make sure that they can do the investigations without any kind of harassment or negativity.
yeah,
So we'll do that. We have got people in the quote high risk areas, but they're people who want to be in that. Then when I'm not going to put someone in a job that needs a daily rate and cannot do anything for it, you actually need to. The person who wants to be there needs to be there for the right reasons. You
yes,
know, you want to be there to do your job. You're not there just because you need that daily rate and then go out, whatever. You need to be there to do it and not think of anything else. And that's your job. And I'll see you in a month. Do you know what I mean?
yes,
So we do that as well. And I think with what's happening in the world around the Red Sea and all around that kind of, the maritime's starting to bubble again. there's potential of things happening around there, and from the background, the core and the other unit I was in, that's going to attract our kind of people. So the world's gone. The world, even though it's a bad place at the moment, it's kind of good for my company, which someone's going to do it. So why can't I?
Well, exactly. Yeah. So are you looking for contract? Are you looking for people for tasks, or as well as
No,
clients?
no. Well, I've got my own. If people are interested, I'll always take CVs. I've got obviously my own CVs, but also I've got a signal group where I put guys and girls who are in the group, and when work comes up, I'll post it on there and say who's interested, because I know on that list that everybody's been vetted by me anyway, so everyone,
Yeah.
I'm happy with everyone on there. Do you know what I mean? Rather than, I wouldn't put something like that on LinkedIn, even though it's that platform. I wouldn't do that, because it's usually people who come to me and then show me what they've done, or I know them anyway, and then I want to keep them because they're the best anyway. So I've got I've got that as a bubble. But if I was going to ask anything out there now, then it would be for more clients to come in. I've got that all in place. If you want assistance, then just come up here. I can provide whatever assistance you need, and that's from personal protection to cyber's a big thing at the moment. Absolutely huge. You know, we've got loads of different avenues of helping people. We've actually recently, a very, very wealthy lady had an internet romance with a quote, a soldier who she was sending money to, and we delved into the root of, shall we say, where he was sending the messages from. He wasn't a soldier, he was in Africa, and she was sending the money. And so we found that out, and it wasn't nice telling her that, because she thought she was in love, blah blah blah. But that kind of stuff happens as well. And it's like, do you
Yeah.
realize what's happening here? That signal is going there, and that's coming from that house there. Well, hut, probably, it's a hut, and you're in love with someone who's put a picture. If you Google that, put that picture on Google, wear it on the images, and find out that that's a model who's doing whatever. That's not that person, and that's quite hard to tell that person, because they're fallen for this wit, and they're just flipping giving money out. So there's all different kinds of scenarios, and like I said before, when I went back into the security industry, it's nice to be on the side where I'm not out there doing it. I'm looking at it and thinking, I can help that person. You know, I'll give them the best person I've got. Or if that person needs a surveillance team, I can go to our old security services to get up to date ways of finding whatever information you need. You know,
Yeah.
so it's nice helping people, and in a way that we're not as a company desperate to 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 try and grab stuff, if you see what I mean. The stuff's coming to us rather than panicking or anything like that. And I think you need to be genuine. There's a lot of these. I mean, the security companies absolutely everywhere, and they're not genuine. Some of them aren't genuine. They just want to get an invoice in and then move on, and they're not bothered about the relationship or the standard, how they're going to evaluate that and process that. They just want to get in and out and pay for the cheapest person. If you look on these WhatsApp groups, they're doing like £12, £15 an hour, and you're thinking,
Yeah.
what if you're paying for that? What are you getting?
Well, exactly. Yes. Yeah. I know. It's
Yeah.
no. Don't get me started. I shall, I shall rein in the rant.
Right.
Well, I'm going to. We shall share everything you've got in terms of social media platforms, etc., your business, your website, all the
Yeah.
links you want to share, and we'll make sure that this gets out as far and wide as humanly possible.
Brilliant.
So,
Thank you.
um, is there, what's the, if you were to give anybody at the moment, from your perspective, where the world is and with what you do, in just general advice for what's your one key tip, do you think? What would you advise people?
Talk to people. Talk talk to people. We don't talk enough to each other, and we
Yeah,
don't.
no,
That could stop a lot of hardship, overthinking, sleepless nights, a lots and lots. There's lots down that avenue. And if you just talked and five minutes of I'm feeling this, or I'm not happy with this, or can you help? It stops all that. Stops
yeah,
it. You can get on with what you want to get on with and be you. Because if all that stuff's on you, you're not being you. You're standing there, and you is not coming out because you're batting with shit, and
yeah,
that's all you're protecting yourself with. And we're not. We need to move on. We need to just say, "Oh, can I have some help?" Or "How do you do this?" Or like, just give a hug.
yeah.
You know.
Hugs are good.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, nice one, Pasha. Thanks, mate.
No, it was right.
Been good to catch up, good to chat, and I appreciate you taking the time out because I know you're busy. So yeah, listen, mate.
Brilliant.
You take care
Pleasure.
of yourself, and
And you, mate. Thanks.
we shall catch up again soon. Cheers, bud.